Oh, my head is hurting me. Hi guys, this is Diane here from Design Creative, and today we're going to be talking about layouts. How to use layouts correctly in our design. What is cloning? What is mirroring? Mirroring. Ooh, mirroring. What the heck is a shared layout? Why the hell am I using so many wrappers in my design? Make sure you stay tuned. I'll see you after this bit. Okay guys, so let's get into the meat of what layouts are. Now, layouts basically consist of your blocks and your wrappers in one page as one design. Okay, so that's basically what a layout is. Now, when you first log into Headway, the back end of Headway, and you go into the grid view, you're usually greeted with a grid wizard if it's the first time that you have either landed on a page which you haven't edited or you've opened Headway. And what it does is it gives you a list of 5 different presets which you can use for your design. Or if you've already made a design and you just want to import one particular layout, you can also use the import and export feature, which is here. Now, in the preset section, if you know me, you know that I'm not really a big fan of presets, and there's a reason why I'm not a big fan of presets, and I'll explain that a little bit later in the tutorial. But for now, I'm just going to use this first preset and click here to finish. So now we have our layout, and as you can see, we have our header, we have our navigation, and it's all in the blog index currently, right? Cool. So let's press save, and let's let me close the other tab so I don't confuse myself, and let's press view site. And what you will see is my website with my logo, the navigation with the content, and the sidebar. Now this is on my blog index, so I'm currently just making a blog right now, and it's showing the first post, which is hello world, and when I click in hello world, it will bring me the rest of my post. Now, say if when I click on sample page, I've noticed that there is a widget, a sidebar area there as well, but I'm not really too keen about this sidebar being on every single page. In fact, I don't want it on any of my pages. So what can I do to make this page look different from the home page? And it's quite easy, and that's by manipulating our layout. So let's go back to the blog index, and if we click on this drop button here, it will bring you a list of all the different pages on your site that you can edit. So as you can see here, we've got the blog index, which is my home page. We've got single, which is the post, page and media, and we have archive, which is category, author, post tag, taxonomy, etc. Now, if you don't know anything about WordPress, one of the things that you do need to know about WordPress is its hierarchy, okay? And it's important that you know this to some extent when you're using Headway, because it really can help you speed up your website design process really quickly. And when it comes to when somebody first lands on your page, one of the first things that PHP does is it searches, or what WordPress does is it searches for your blog index page. And what it says is, okay, well, if there is no blog index, then there must be a front page. Let me search for the index page of the front page. Okay, so there is an index page. Okay, so now they've got that. Oh, they want to go to a particular page on the site. Let me serve them up the single PHP page. Okay, so this is the single PHP, and it kind of goes on like that. So that's why you've got the single and you've got the archive, because these particular 2 templates are very important within WordPress. sorry if I've confused you, but hopefully if you have a look at the WordPress Codex, it will give you much more information about it. And I don't want to totally confuse you, but there's just a few things that I want you to understand. So here we have our single, and we've got our post, we've got our page, and we've got media. Now I just want to change everything that falls under a page. So I'm going to go over where it says page, and I'm going to click edit. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring me up the grid wizard again. Okay, but this time it's going to have an extra feature that says clone existing layout. Now I'm going to get into cloning in a second, but what I want to do is I want to go back to preset, and I want to choose this layout here which doesn't have a sidebar. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to press next. Now what Headway cleverly does is it says, okay, so you want to choose this particular layout, but I noticed that this layout has a header and a footer and a navigation and a content block, and you already have this on another page. So do you want to use the same features or what? So yeah, we do want to use the same features. So we go to header and we select these, and we press finish. And what that does is it mirrors the original settings of the original page. Okay, so if you add any particular styling, we haven't done this in this instance, but if you put any particular styling for your logo or your navigation or for your content block, it will basically mirror the styling of it. Now if we press save and we go back to our page and we refresh it, this sidebar should be gone. Okay, that's brilliant. Now let's go and make another page, and I'm going to call this page sidebar. Sidebar. Okay, and I'm going to publish this page. Now this page, I do want to actually add a sidebar to it, but if I click on view page now, it's just going to show me the same content as the sample page. And when I say content, I don't mean content like literally, I mean the same layout as the sample page. I haven't actually put any text in this page, so let me just throw in some text so then it doesn't look completely blank and empty. And now let me view the page. So here we have our sidebar and we have our content. We've got sample page and we've got our content, but on sidebar we do not have our sidebar. Like, where the hell has it gone, right? So we can add a sidebar easily. In two ways actually we can do this. So we can actually go to the page, and where it says Headway, we can click here on Headway and it will bring us to the exact page. As you can see on the top it says sidebar. It will bring us to the exact page where we need to go, and in this instance we can clone the blog index because the blog index has the sidebar. So let's press clone, and now you could see that we have the same layout as the blog, with our header and our content and our widgets, and everything has the blue around it, which means that it has been mirrored, right? Now this is quite easy for us to do because we know Headway and we can go into the back of Headway and we can manipulate these changes. But what happens when we have to give our site to a client and they are, they're loving WordPress right now and they're loving what they can do. So, they're creating all of these pages, and some pages they want sidebars on and some pages they don't want sidebars on at all, right? But we can't be telling them, right, you need to work out what wrappers you need to put in there, you need to work out what blocks to put in there, and you need to add styling. Like, we can't tell our clients that. They ain't got a bloody clue what we're talking about. So this is where shared layouts will come into play. Now, for a shared layout, I can basically say sidebar, what the heck? Sidebar layout, I'm going to call it, and I'm going to click here to say add shared layout, and here where it says sidebar layout, it should automatically show up here. I'm going to click edit, right? And here it will bring us the grid wizard again. So instead of me, I can clone an existing layout if I want to, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to clone the blog index. I'm going to use that in here, and I'm going to press save. Okay. Now let me go back to the site, view site, and I'm going to press to add a new page. And in this page, I'm going to call it my sidebar. I'm going to have so many pages called sidebar, it's going to get confusing. I'm going to paste in some text here. Right now, if you have a look on the right hand side of your screen, it will say shared layout. And if we press this drop down here, you could see it will say sidebar layout, the one that we've created. Now we've given our clients access to Headway without giving them access to Headway. So we can create multiple different layouts and make them shared layouts, and then if we hand it off to our clients, or just even for our personal sakes, we may not always want to go to the back of Headway, so we can create all these multiple layouts and assign different pages to them without having to go to the back of Headway. But if we go into the back of Headway and we let's just refresh this page, because we've created a new page since then. Let's refresh the page and let's go to our drop down. Let's go to single. You can actually edit individual pages within Headway as well. So if I click on page, you will see the 3 pages, which is my sidebar, and sample page. Now I can click on sidebar, and here it will give me the grid wizard once again, but this time it's going to give us a new option called use shared layout. Okay, so now if I use this shared layout on my site, what you're going to notice is that it's going to black out the whole of the grid editor, because it's telling me that I cannot edit this page how it is. I have to go back into this shared layout and edit the shared layout if I want to edit this page. But not only this page, anything which is using shared layout is also going to be edited. So basically, use shared layout with caution. Use shared layout when you know that that is it. You're not going to make any more edits to this page. This is how the sidebar is going to look like, or the sidebar layout is going to look like forever until the day that I die. Yeah, that is the only time really that you really want to be using shared layouts. Okay, there is also an option where if you go back to pages and I just reset this, there is also an option to clone. Okay, you can clone a template, and basically this gives us more of an avenue to edit the actual page. So if I click here for sidebar layout and I clone it, now it's going to give me the exact features of the shared layout, but a more editable version. You get it? I hope you do. So that is really it when it comes to shared layouts and when it comes to cloning. Now, the next important one that I'm going to talk about is probably the most important feature that you need to know in Headway standardly. Right, so let me go back to snapshots and I'm going to roll everything back. And I'm going to now talk about why I think that presets are a waste of time, a massive waste of time. Okay, so now we're back at the blog wizard, right? And let's just press save. I'm going to close the other tabs now. And I'm going to press view site. And as you can see, when I click on the other pages now, we've still got the same pages because I've rolled everything back, so the design changes they've moved now. We don't have the same ones. We've only got the one layout. Now I'm going to use the layout on all of my pages. I'm going to clone the blog index, but I'm going to take away the the widget area. I'm going to lengthen this out, and I'm going to press save, and I'm going to refresh. And if I go to my sidebar, you will see now we no longer have the widget area. Now, let me go back to blog. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about mirroring and why it's so important. So our client comes back to us and says, you know what, I don't want the logo on the left hand side anymore, I want it on the right. We're like, yeah, sure, okay, that's going to be like $30 for you to, you know, make those changes. It takes you literally 3 seconds to move the bar from left to right, and then you press save, right? Then you go and you view the site, and you're like, yay, the logo's on the right hand side. And then you go and press on my sidebar, and you're like, yeah, oh, okay, let me just go back into the blog page, and I'm gonna have to reset something. I'm gonna have to change all the rest of the pages to match this logo, which is now being moved to the other side. It's long, it's tedious, and it's a bit like really putting inline CSS. It's like that, really. You put in inline CSS and then you realize that, you know, the customer no longer wants your hyperlinks to be green anymore. They want them to be black, and you've got to go through all of your pages to change all the hyperlinks to black, right? It's just annoying. It's annoying. And that's the reason why mirroring comes in bloody handy. Now, the blocks have mirrored. When you have a look at the actual, let's have a look at the page. Where are we? Let's switch layouts for a quick second. When we look at the page and we see that it has this blue outline around the site, we know, and it's when we hover over it, it says that it's mirroring, but it's not really a true mirror. It's because it hasn't mirrored, you know, the size of the block. So it has mirrored, but it's not a true mirror. And this is where I think using multiple wrappers comes in handy. Now let's go back to blog index, and I'll explain to you what I mean by this. When I create a project, every time I create a project, I always kind of think of how the original WordPress templates are designed. And they're usually designed with different files. So it may be an archive PHP file, a single PHP file, and they also have a folder called includes. And if you have a look in the includes folder, they would have 2 specific files, one called a header PHP file and one called a footer PHP file. Now, the reason why they have this is because usually headers and footers don't really change at all. They're usually the same throughout every single page, and design wise it's usually pretty good to keep it that way because it doesn't confuse your clients, right? So every time I start a new project with Headway, one of the first things I do is I create one wrapper, which I call my header wrapper, and I create another wrapper below, which I call my footer wrapper. And these basically act pretty much the same as normal PHP files would. So I would get the header and I would drag that up there, and I would also get my navigation and I would drag that up there too. Everything else would just stay the same apart from the footer, which I would drag down into the footer. Now I'm going to press save, right? So let's have a look at the home page now. If you have a look at the home page, there isn't really that much difference other than the fact that, you know, there's a gap because there's like a 30 pixel gap between each of the wrappers, but we can fix that, right? And it's still gonna look the same. Now, if we click on my sidebar, we are gonna have the original, but basically that's not what we want. We want everything to be separated, especially the header and the footer. So if I go to the single, let's go to single. I think it was single, was it page? Let's have a look here. No, it was page actually. So let's click on edit page. Okay, so now let me add a wrapper. And once I've added the wrapper, I'm going to right click, open wrapper options, and I'm going to add the header here. I'm going to add another block here, open wrapper options, and I'm going to add a footer. Okay, so here it says the wrapper is mirroring the blocks from wrapper header, and here it says it's mirroring the blocks from the footer. Now I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this as well because we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to press save. I'm going to go to view site, and again we're going to have the same layout as the home page, right? But the difference is now when we go to the blog index, so we go back to the original page, and I change this header and I press save, if I go to my normal page now, everything changes. You see, because it's not just mirroring one particular block, it's mirroring all of the blocks and its location. And I think that's really important to have that type of customization, or that type of freedom to be able to customize your site. So basically, if I want to create another page, let's say I'm going to edit the sample page now, this is how I would do it. So I'd go to my sample page, wait for the grid wizard to pop up. I tell it to piss off because I don't want it anymore. The first wrapper, I make sure that I mirror the footer. Then I add another wrapper. I add whatever content block I need to put in that wrapper for whatever reason. And then I end it with another wrapper, which would be my footer wrapper. Okay, and then I press save. And again, if I go over to here, I have the home page of the footer with the right hand navigation and the right hand of the header, and I have the footer down here. I can also do it another way, so I can go to sidebar, edit, and where it says grid wizard, I can clone that sample page, and look what happens when I clone it. It still mirrors the original wrappers, you see? So now I don't have to keep putting in the header and the footer wrapper. I can just mirror another instance that I know has these two elements in it, and then I can literally just take out that block and then put in a completely unique layout for that particular section. So let's press save and view, and here we go. Okay, so I hope that sort of gives you an understanding of why it's important to get your layouts sort of correct when you first create your site. So if you've already created your site and you're reading or you're watching this tutorial, it's not gonna make, like, don't try to implement these changes now. If you've already got your site finished, unless you're looking to redesign it, don't implement these changes now because it's just going to be a headache. Just know for your next project that if you want to, that you should separate your header and your footer and have them as mirrored blocks all the way through your design. All the rest of the blocks, like the content block and stuff like that, like you can change those at any time, but the header and the footer tries to keep them separate from the rest of the design. Okay, so that's where the mirroring comes in. The cloning comes in, I guess, when you need to clone a particular block. So if you need a particular block to be exactly the same as another block on another page, then cloning will come in handy then. Okay, and with the shared layouts, it's important to use them once they get it fixed. It's important to use them once you've created layouts that you know are never going to change. So you can create shared layout, you can create a shared layout, and these will be seen in the back end of WordPress, and your clients can easily switch between what type of layout that they want. Just like if you buy a normal theme from Theme Forest, you know that they have individual they have shared, well, shared layouts, which, you know, can be shared amongst all of the different pages or posts that you have. Okay, so I hope that sort of answers your questions about particular layouts and why it's important to use different wrappers for different segments of your site. So I will see you soon. I am so tired, you just don't know. See you on the other side.